Let's go now to the Nationals leader, David Littleproud, who joins us in Dalby, Queensland. Good to talk to you, David. Did you get the opposition leader you wanted?
Oh, look, that's a matter for the Liberal Party, but what I've got to say is I've been very pleased with the way that Angus Taylor's hit the ground running. He's got back to coalition values. He's articulated them very clearly about returning our country to the standard of living that we've been accustomed to, but protecting our way of life. And I think that goes to not just the economic argument, but it goes to the fact that under Anthony Albanese, we've seen immigration too high and our standards too low. And this is an opportunity to get back to those core values, to articulate that we can fix these economic problems and social problems with just some good old common sense. And I've known Angus for a fair while now, and I think he'll draw on his smarts, but his collective wisdom, but more importantly, his values to get back to what the coalition believes in. So I've got to say, I'm out in my electorate. I'm actually in Chinchilla, my hometown. I just left Dalby. I've got to say there's renewed optimism that the coalition is really clear about what we believe in and how we're going to change this country after 4 years of Anthony Albanese.
I found it staggering on this program last week to speak to the then Shadow Immigration Minister, Paul Scar, and find out that there was a coalition immigration policy that was ready to go, but he'd been sitting on it. Did that policy go through Shadow Cabinet? Were you aware of that as well as the Shadow Ministers?
No, there's no final decision on it. There'd been input into that policy, but it hadn't formally been ticked off, from my understanding. And so those details weren't finalised, but we were getting back to making sure that we had an immigration policy that worked for this country. I mean, we've poured in 1.3 million people in this country. That's a city the size of Adelaide, when we've got social disconnection right across our country, but also we've got a housing problem. Just understand you are fueling demand, pushing up prices, taking hope away from young people by bringing those sort of numbers in without even thinking about the skills in which we might need.
Yeah,
what we'll do now, Angus.
So, yeah, a lot of this policy has been leaked now through Sky News and other media, and it includes the banning of immigration from certain countries that are essentially run by terrorist groups. And it lists a whole range of them. Of course, it would include Gaza and the Palestinian territories, Somalia and other countries. This is a very Trumpian policy, isn't it? It's a very sensible one, I should add, in my view, because the last thing we want to do is import extremism into this country. But it looks to have been mimicked from what Donald Trump has done in the US.
Well, we're giving the greatest gift we can give any person on this planet, a ticket to Australia. And we don't want to import people into this country that don't support our way of life and believe in it. And so what we've got to do is understand the real threats that exist. And you've just beautifully articulated one of the nation's most heinous problems at the moment, if I can put an oxymoron out there, in terms of the hate that is on the streets of our cities at the moment. Around bringing the hate of the Middle East to this country and allowing it to be permeated by, they're not preachers of religion, this individual, he's a preacher of hate. And he wants to bring discohesion to our society, and that's what he's trying to preach. So what we've got to do is make sure that we set the values, we set the standard. We're giving the greatest gift, and if you can't live up to that, you can go home and you're not welcome here.